Bellevue, Nebraska in my humble little abode. We're all together and we're about to head to Glenwood, Iowa to visit Sacrilegious Ciderworks. So hope you guys are ready for our little road trip and have a lot in store. We get to do a little Q&A and
drink.
Gluten-free.
Yes, very gluten-free.
Ciders.
or how they say, gluten-free.
Oh my goodness. So, yep. Yay.
Alright, so we made it. We're here at
Vine
Street Cellars
for Sacrilegious Ciderworks. So,
let's get it.
Beer Stalkers, we made it to Vine Street Cellars, Sacrilegious Ciderworks. Here with Ramsey, the cider maker right here. The mad genius behind all these amazing flavors and flavors we've talked about in the past. So go ahead, this is our first video for our spotlight of different breweries, cideries, everything going like that. So really glad we had you had the chance to meet with us to talk about the cider.
definitely thanks again for
Yeah, no, thank you so much for coming out, guys, and making the trip all the way out from the other side of the river. I know it seems a little bit further, but it's real close, real hometown, right next to Omaha.
Yeah, definitely.
I guess you want me to give a little history about
Yeah,
things?
go for it.
Okay, so to start, we started this journey, me and my former business partner, back in, let's say, 2015, 2016 area. I started off by just being kind of in wine. That's about it. Doing a little bit of home cider making, and I had a little bit of my test batches around. I was sharing it to my friends, and then I started a job at the Alamo Draft Cinema. So I started helping by being the wine guy behind the bar. And as I kind of grew, when we first opened Alamo out in Papillion, the Vista area, I shared it with one of my friends, and he became my business partner. Said, "Hey, this is really good stuff. I would like to take this to the next step." So he was on the marketing and the social media side, and I was kind of on the production side, so we melded together, and in 2018, January 13th, we started this huge, scary process of making cider and getting out there into the Omaha area, all the way Lincoln, Kearney, and then just in this past year in 2019, we've been just pushing into the Iowa area, so yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I think the first time I had it was at Beer Fest. I think I saw you. Like I said, saw you on Instagram, social media. Reached out and come and see us. So I did.
There it is.
Gave us sample. Had some Beer Fest scores. Had the samples. Had all the samples. Fell in love. Favorite ciders. I don't care what I said in other videos. Number one.
Yes.
But and then after that, I told everybody, I go, you need to have try that, try this, go here. Every beer fest I see anybody, go there, go find them. If I know they're there, if they're not there, it's a sad beer fest. If they are there, great. So
Well, the good thing is I've never had Sacrilegious Ciderworks.
Perfect.
So you'll get some reaction videos from you guys. I've never had
We
it
have a virgin.
before. Right?
we're gonna. No, I'm not gonna say it. We'll just keep it clean.
There you go.
And it's great that you're going to be part of the Ultimate Beer Fest
Yes.
again.
Yep, I'll be there at Ultimate Beer Fest and every other beer fest for the rest of the year, whether it's Benson Beer Fest or the Great Nebraska Brew Bash now.
Oh,
Goodness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Big ones, yes, absolutely.
So I guess since we're talking about locations, I was gonna kind of bounce around. So
Okay.
why Glenwood?
Why Glenwood? So, okay, do you want to go way back? I just went to we'll tell you the tale all the way back as far as I can tell. So, back when I was 12 years old, I got in trouble for drinking alcohol. So I can use that as justification for what I'm doing now is on market research.
Yes.
When I was 16, we purchased a property of land about a mile outside of town in Glenwood, and we chose this property mainly because of the land. The land out here on the other side of the river is all prehistoric wind-blown soil from Nebraska. So we stole all of Nebraska soil. Prehistorically, it was wind-blown, so that means for 60 to almost 120 feet, you won't find a single rock. So the roots of anything that you grow out here will not have to compete with anything else. It's very fertile soil because it's all landed on top of each other over time and time again. And in the whole world, you can only find the soil in two places, here and in China along the river. So you can grow very many, very distinct types of fruits, distinct types of grapes, anything out here without having to worry about those kinds of nutritional issues. From there, we planted grapes, I think in spring of 2006, and from there pushed on from making specific types of wines based on those types of grapes. In 2011, we opened Vine Street Cellars, and that was time when Rat came through and started in the town of Glenwood, and we just got hammered, not only in the back, but also the front by the public. And we got our name out there, and having that history of being a great place that hosted one of the biggest bike rides in the world, it kind of set our pace very, very high. Making wine, making grapes, and everything else, then that kind of pushed me to go to Iowa State University to study horticulture and then do a minor in food science. So I could not only make the grapes, grow the grapes, but also produce the wine from there. And then from there, I was like, well, wine's basically what all of my family is doing, and all of our friends, I want to do something different. We also have artisanal apple trees out at our vineyard, and we took those apples and started making some batches. From there,
Look at this.
so you get this.
All these different colors and flavors, amazing.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about the logo.
Okay.
The actual logo. Is there any?
I'll put it up right here.
Yes, so Sacrilegious Ciderworks, the logo, there is nothing really to it other than we love it, and it's a fun, shielded logo. It kind of builds to our structure of having nothing's really sacred except the quality. So we can use everything from apples to grapes to different types of fruits. Then the style, so I don't have to grow it myself. I can purchase it from other people. I take my inspiration for the production process in a brewing standpoint, even though that's not my background, but it's a winemaking standpoint. I have some type of terroir where I can say that I'm grounded here in Southwest Iowa, or say I'm not even at all by using fun flavors like blueberry pancake and strawberry basil. You guys will get to try a little sample of my bourbon barrel-aged cider, so everything from the logo, the name, and the style, the shape. It was actually built by our good friends over at, oh my goodness, let's see if I can think of the name, but I'll tell you guys after the video if I can go research it. They were the ones who built not only our logo, but our website, and helped us build the graphics for our tap ins and flavors. Yeah.
And of course, I'll link the website below for you can go check it out. It's a nice website, real easy to go through, navigate, and at the bottom tells you where to come to get all these ciders. And so, as being making ciders, we've seen ciders. We had different ones, pineapple. We had blueberry. Basic fruit ciders or normal ciders with base
Usually it's
apple.
all about
Yes.
apple.
Yeah, apple.
Yeah.
So, what came in your mind? What thought came up with a churro cider? Yes, churro.
Do you want the specific churro, or do you want to have like all the flavors where they're inspired from and everything else?
We'll start with that.
Start with churro.
And we'll go.
So
go there.
churro, or Churro Especiale as the full flavor name is, came about in mid 2019 last year, and the inspiration was as I started my journey, I think, in the state of Iowa, in central Iowa, just kind of on a whim. I was trying to do self-distribution, and I wasn't really making a name for myself until I talked to El Bait Shop. So El Bait Shop, it has 242 draft lines. So where you have to take a ladder, almost a library ladder, and slide it across it, kind of like, yeah. And then there's this, I think, it's 3 tiers of different beers, wines, ciders, and meats, and kombuchas on draft. And the beer that had just been recently collaborated with that beer bar, the draft place, was the El Bake Shop, which was a cinnamon pastry stout with Barntown Brewing Company. So I basically prepared this ahead of time and went in with basically blind and introduced myself to their general manager and kind of the head honcho, Teresa. And Teresa over there said, hey, so I figured out you guys are new, I'd love to try all your stuff. And then I said, hey, I, under the radar, created something just for you guys. That's the only place where you can get it besides here at our production facility in Taproot. And she loved it, and now it's one of their best sellers. And so it's called Churro, and it has baking spices, it has flavorings, extracts that kind of mimic that same baking flavor without having any gluten in it. So that's what I try to do is try my best to make sure that anyone who is sensitive to actually eating churros can finally consume it in some way or fashion.
That's what I love. Oh my gosh, when we came here last year, what
the apple, I think it was apple pie? It was a,
Yeah, it was like a cinnamon apple pie. I cried.
we did. We took a growler home in our cider review episode. We pulled that out at the end, and oh yeah,
I'm so happy.
it was so good.
I'm glad to hear.
So good. I don't know about you, but I'm gonna try it. Just I have to.
And what was that location again? You said
El Bait Shop in downtown Des Moines.
okay.
Basically,
We'll
right
have
off
to-
of Court Ave.
We have to go there.
Yes.
Oh my God.
It's attached to the Miller High Life bar, so you can either have your non-crafty things, have some really nice hometown food, and then go right over and just walk through and then have fantastic craft beer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a great thing. There's like, it's smooth. There's a wonderful aftertaste with it. There's no like tart or anything harsh.
Yeah.
Right? So just
And I know, next one I know we have on this side is the black and gold. I know they gave us, I think you might have told me this at a beer fest, and I know when we came here they explained it to us again, where black and gold came from.
Yeah.
If we want to go ahead and let everybody know.
Yeah, absolutely. So the next cider that you guys will be tasting is our Black and Gold Hard Cider, which is a blackberry lemonade hard cider with infused with activated charcoal. So we make sure, especially with that disclaimer of having activated charcoal in it, is that there are some people with heart conditions or that take medications where charcoal is actively used in the hospital to be able to bind with it, and so you can easily process it out of your body. So we've been able to calculate per gallon or per pint, I guess, of how much activated charcoal we use to make sure to not interfere with any of those medical issues. From there, we just use it as a colorant, really, to make it something really cool, and we use a special mixture of syrups and infusions to make sure that it suspends within it, because if not, it will sink to the bottom of the keg. So every time, it'll get lighter and lighter, and then at the end, you'll get like basically a pulp at the bottom.
Yeah, this is great. I doubt you can get it, but see from there, but it goes. It's just the way it blends. It's
Yes.
amazing.
Yeah, so that's inspired by the Glenwood Rams. Our town of Glenwood, our team are the Rams, the mascots. We wanted to dedicate something around our homecoming time, because it's one of the biggest homecomings in Southwest Iowa, where we have a parade that goes through town, and we're all sporting the black and gold colors, not black and yellow. I don't want to get that confused. We are the black and gold Rams. And it is our best-selling cider from basically the whole state of Iowa.
Yeah, I've heard about the parade all the way over in Omaha.
Yeah.
Everyone talks about
Right.
you have to go if you have time, make time and come. Yeah.
Yeah, every class that's graduated from Glenwood comes back and has their own float individually for each one. So
Nice.
celebrate and get together and have a good time.
We might have to do that.
Yes.
We'll see.
So all in all, what is your favorite cider?
I would say the one that I'm drinking right now, the original semi-sweet, which you guys will get to on number
3.
Yep. Number 8, I guess. Total.
Yeah.
Number 8, yeah.
Yes.
We don't math well.
That's
We don't.
You don't.
Nope.
We yeah.
Yeah, that one you definitely get.
Oh, so good.
Definitely.
What is it? Come on. You gotta get it.
Come
I
on.
thought we were doing it separate.
No, we're doing it all together. That's why it's little sips. And then I know the next one's black cherry. We've seen, cherry or black cherry in other ciders, so I guess just...
Yep, it's just a general black cherry. It's nothing special. It wanted to be one of our forerunners, and it is on Untapped, one of our best-selling ciders, whether it comes to ratings or the amount of places that have hosted it and sold it as well. It's easy drinking. It's, again, most of our ciders will be within the alcohol range of 5 to 6.2% alcohol to make sure that we can effectively sell our cider within the ranges that we want to for massive beer. Technically, we are a winery, but really, if we stay within those ranges, we don't have to pay as much taxes. And I can use a beer distributor, which I'm using on both sides of the states to be able to effectively get into bars and restaurants.
Nice. It's a good way to do
Brilliant.
that. Yeah.
Brilliant.
It's a lot of research. It's a lot of talking.
Oh, yeah.
And things are changing all the time, whether it comes to legislation in the state or legislation federally.
Yeah.
In 2015, it was a big step for cider when they came up with the Cider Act. And that allowed us, as wineries, breweries, whoever, depending on the state, to control what you make. So it's been able to get a lot of ciders. That's why you've been seeing them locally after that big, huge federal change in legislation. So.
And then the next one I know we have is a special one that's pretty amazing.
Blueberry pancake.
Blueberry pancake. It's looks like syrup, tastes like pancake.
Yep.
Amazing.
Again, we went with the gluten-free flavors. Even though it says pancake, it does not include any type of ingredients.
Amazing.
Yeah. In the past, we've been able, that is one of the best blending ciders that we've been able to do. It's great on its own, but it's even better if you use other craft beers with it, other ciders that you can blend like our grandma's butter cookie with. I think the first time we were inspired to blend it was at the Holiday Beer Festival in 2018. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. We blended it with Lazy Horse's maple bacon bourbon beer.
I've heard about that. There's this like maple bacon.
Yes. So you could, it's breakfast in a glass.
Yes.
That's what we did. We did a 50-50 blend with that. But it's done well every single time, whether it's tart or it's savory, whatever the type of flavors that you're getting, it's easy to drink.
So when you go to like events,
Yes.
what's deciding factors? Like what are you gonna bring?
Oh,
What are you gonna
okay. So
push?
we have way too many flavors to be able to decide.
Yeah.
So it's really
Yeah.
what's availability, time of the year,
Mhm.
and what's hot or something we want to release. So if we want to release something, kind of sneak it really slowly. Be like, here, let's try this one, and then it goes crazy, and then we like pull it back and be like, the only place you can get it as 1 or 2 or 3 of these locations. And so really we go with the best sellers to start. We know that we're gonna make a name for ourselves, especially at newer events. But the older events, it's like most of the time people ask for the same thing. I don't understand it. I thought that they didn't want something new, but no, they get really angry if they don't get the thing that they had
Like,
last time.
want it.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
It
Again,
depends.
we're only on draft, so that's
Yeah.
really the issue.
Oh,
If we
yeah.
were in cans or bottles, which we're working on really soon, then they wouldn't have any issues. But if not, that's the only time of year, that's the only day out of the year that they can get that one cider. And we love making it special, making that event even more special by dedicating it sometimes that's to that event.
So then when you're seeing cans and bottles, so as of right now, there's no cans and bottles out.
Sadly.
Mhm. Since we are dealing with a carbonated product, we would have to deal with a carbonated system, and that's not something that we have. Even though we've been open as Vine Tree Cellars, who's been making still wine, that's the only type of canning or bottling system that we have at the moment. So that means everything is non-carbonated. Once you deal with that, you have to have a capper system, have to have enough bright tanks to be able to hold that carbonation in there to be able to bring it to the cans box. But we will be getting there. I know you've seen a little sneak peek of the labels. So.
Yep.
Yep.
I would show them, but no.
Yes.
Nobody gets to see them. Oh, us now.
Yeah.
But no.
Because I know we have an artist in the house, even though he's really quiet.
Mhm.
So very
Love
good.
to get a business card.
I know. Exactly.
Yeah.
Coming up next.
And then I know the next one we have up is Grandma's Butter Cookie. I know we have that at the recent Holiday
I was
Beer
introduced
Fest.
that to the holiday
yes,
fest.
yes.
I was like, it's so sweet and like melts in your mouth.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Okay, so there it is. So that is our 2019 version, which isn't as tart. It's going to be definitely on the sweeter side, and it's crystal clear. It basically looks like water. It's taken,
I would say, yep.
Yeah, it's taken our base cider, our original semi-sweet, and we've added extracts from all the different flavors that you can combine and create. It was inspired by Infusion's Vanilla Bean Blonde as a gluten-free version, basically, and something that's easily to blend and to infuse.
yeah.
Yeah.
Infusion, huh?
Yeah.
Huh?
Buddy.
Yeah, Infusion has always been on our good side. We love them. We actually worked with Ryan, one of Bill's sons, at Alamo Draft Cinema, so we work really well with those guys.
All right, yeah. Great one. So good.
So much.
Next one we have is, could be a mixed drink. You might see everywhere else. Copper Mule.
I think that's awesome. That's one of my favorite go-to drinks. Any place,
Right.
any type of bar, I'm like, I want to try your beer.
Right, absolutely. It's a good degree, a good way to measure a bar's like efficiency and how way they make their cocktails, especially with what minimum ingredients that they have.
Yes.
So if they have a good mule, a good daiquiri, a good old fashioned, then you know that that's a great cocktail bar. So that is definitely the inspiration. For every sixer keg, we use 1 pound of freshly ground ginger in a blender that's ground up and blended with freshly squeezed lime juice. So that has no extracts, has no colorings, no nothing. It's just ginger and lime. Yeah.
I think that's like the greatest approach because everything being processed
Right,
or
exactly.
everything being extra added. It's just
Mhm.
that's
there's a time and place for everything, especially when you want to avoid other types of ingredients like gluten ones. That's where we have to use those kinds of things for colorants and everything else. But when we don't need to, we won't add them. So that's what countergluten comes in.
Next one is strawberry basil.
Strawberry basil, one of our best selling on this side of the state. It's not as sweet. It definitely has basil on the nose and strawberry on the tongue.
Sorry.
We made it for the ladies, and they definitely love it, and the gentlemen definitely back it up as well.
I don't mind it. I enjoy it a lot.
Easy.
Yeah. And you said your next one is your semi-sweet.
Original
Personal
semi-sweet.
favorite,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, absolutely. That is my personal favorite. It has basically a green apple, very fruity, very easy drinking type of taste. We carbonated to make sure it's a little bit more carbonated than everything else. It has a bright finish to it. It comes from our Macintosh base that we make, so basically all 100% Macintosh apples or juice or anything else that we use. And that's about it. It's our simplest cider, and that'll probably be one of the first that you'll see out there in the markets and grocery stores.
Definitely a good one to start with. Introduce you to these, and then these are your basic ones over here, then you go your crazy ones over here, which is either way amazing. Next one up is pineapple. It's just like a cherry, just a basic one.
Just a basic one. We want to make sure that we're relatable to the public, not only by our crazy stuff, but hey, I've loved a pineapple cider elsewhere, which we've been requested to, so we might as well make a pineapple. We've made alterations off of that one, making a pineapple upside down cake cider. We've made a pineapple triple hop dry cider, and even a semi-sweet citra hop single hop pineapple cider.
I think I remember that one.
Yes.
That one's
Yes,
good
yes,
too.
yes.
So speaking of requests, do you ever get requests for like off the wall flavors and things like? What's the weirdest one you've had so far?
Grapefruit lime with capsaicin, so it's going to be spicy. Yeah.
Wow.
So that'll be coming out probably in a couple months for a bar in Mars.
Okay.
Nice.
In Northern Iowa.
Nice.
And then we have the experimental.
Bourbon barrel aged cider. So it's going to be tart. It's going to be funky. It uses a wild yeast. It does come from our Macintosh base as well, and it's been aged 7 months from April 2019 to I think January 2nd, 3rd. It's right after the New Year's we pulled it out of the barrels, and it's funky. And it's not carbonated. You're basically tasting it right before we put it in. It's a hot 8 or 9% alcohol, and it's basically vanilla oak tannins. You can kind of feel it as it's coming
Yeah, I
down.
can taste the vanilla.
That's amazing.
Chemical X.
Yeah.
Really?
That's where the Powerpuff Girls come from. That's what I'm
Great things. Great.
We may keep it as is. We may carbonate it. I don't know what we're going to do. It's still experimental.
Yeah.
Chemical X.
I do not mind it not carbonated. Just like that is great.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I just
That
pulled it out of
was-
the tank for you guys. So.
That's great. Yeah, we appreciate that. Yeah, so Sacrilegious Ciderworks, variety of flavors from your basic end to down the rabbit hole kind of craziness. Great place. Nice tap room they have here, just very homey. We came at the right time, but
Very kind.
I can imagine where it could get
Very
very
intimate.
busy.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Most
Very
definitely.
busy.
Mhm.
Around us, you might see, like I said, they have different wines here too. So not only ciders, but wines. And somewhere in the corner, there's some local beers that you can actually pick up and take home with you. So they have a variety of different things. And I know I see over here a couple beers on tap that are probably are local. So if you don't want cider or wine, there's a couple beers for you over there. Anything else you want?
I guess like with my love of ciders,
Yes.
so definitely with associated with Beertopia,
Okay.
Fusion, kind of learning all the flavors, things like that. I've been noticing with the fellow cider lovers,
Yes.
they either want to go sweet,
Yes.
which I personally love,
Absolutely.
or tart,
Yes.
or dry. What would you say? Would you have anything that I know you have sweet,
Yes.
but what about like for dry?
Oh,
What would you say
yes.
to
We
us?
used to have dry. That's kind of how we started.
Okay.
And they didn't stop. Yes. So we have enough dry wines where it does support here at Vine Street Cellars. But when it comes outside of the market, it's hard to sell for dry ciders. You have to educate the public. You have to get them ingrained in what cider is, and cider is sweet for them to start. We will have dry ciders coming up this year, whether it's drying up our already existing flavors, or we will be making some single varietal artisanal ciders. growers. And the issue with that is making sure that we support our local orchards. And so to bring in those apples, we need to have a consistent flow of apples and a consistent variety of those certain apples. Or we come up with something called a scrumpy style apple cider. So you bring in as much as you can of whatever you can. So that means that each batch will be a little slightly different. And sometimes we'll use funky yeast. But yes, we will be focusing more on the drier ciders as days come.
All right.
I'll love the sweets forever.
Yes.
So I mean,
Yeah, you do. Yes, you do. You're good? Yeah? Great. Ramsey, thank you for,
Definitely thank you for having me.
providing all this for us. Just explain to us how Sacrilegious came up and, where this came up. Maybe one day we'll come up with, see if we can work together on something just to throw out just for fun.
maybe I'll be like, wild flavor.
That was something crazy.
If you guys find your own apples and you guys would like to produce a Omaha beer stalker cider, then we can process it back here. So you go out to an orchard right north of us, outside of Council Bluffs, called Ditmar's Orchard. And I want you guys to pick your own apples there, because we actually make their hard cider for them. Yes, so if you guys can pick the right apples, we'll go through the whole process from crushing, pressing them, and then we'll pick out the right yeast that you guys want to, and we'll make just a small section for you guys.
Nice. That would be great.
Okay,
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
Yay!
Maybe sometime in the future we'll get another video on that. All right. Well, thanks again, guys. Like I said, come if you're anywhere, Omaha, Nebraska, Iowa, or anywhere close. Come by, visit, try these out. Heck, even if you can, just come to a beer fest that they'll be at. They say they'll be at the ones, most of the ones, big ones this year. So come out, support, local
Come out to a
businesses.
trip in Glenwood. I know, either unless we stop by on weekend,
Yep.
probably gonna be seeing you at
Absolutely.
Ultimate Beer Fest. So,
Yes.
yay. Well, thank you guys.
Like always, guys. So,
Yeah.
cheers.
Cheers, guys.